Hi, I'm Matt Smith and I work in the Provider, Risk and Assurance team within the EFA and SFA's joint shared service. My team works in partnership with Academies to develop the financial accountability framework for the sector. Today, I'll be discussing the changes made to the Academies Accounts Direction for 2015 to 2016. This year, all trusts will need to prepare accounts under the 2015 Charities SORP. I won't be covering the issues related to the adoption of SORP 2015. If you previously prepared accounts under SORP 2005, you may find our separate presentation on the transition arrangements useful. I'll go on to discuss the main findings from our review of last year's financial statements, setting out a number of specific areas of interest, and I'll finish with a summary of key dates coming up. For 2015 to 2016, we have simplified the disclosure of charitable activities, as last year this was thought to be too onerous. Specifically, we have removed the requirement to analyse direct costs by category. And whilst we still require an analysis of support costs, we have reduced the detail required. Please note, at this time, you'll still be required to provide the detailed split of direct and support costs in your accounts return. Service concession arrangements, or PFI schemes, are all individual and need to be considered on a case-by-case basis. However, we draw attention to the control tests set out in FRS 102, which may help you determine the correct accounting treatment. We are aware that a significant number of trusts have now opted in to the Risk Protection Arrangements, or RPA for short, which is an alternative to insurance. RPA covers many different matters, and one of these is trustees' insurance. As part of the accounts requirements, the amounts paid for such insurance is supposed to be shown separately. However, as RPA is collective, it is difficult to break down the individual elements. Accordingly, we have provided some model wording as shown on screen. Both FRS 102 and SORP 2015 require comparative information for all amounts shown in the Statement of Financial Activities, or SOFA for short, including the split between different classes of funds. Like the Charity Commission, we have not mandated how this information is to be shown, as trusts may find it easier to show it one way or another. Instead, we have set out what we have seen in practice and allow you to come to a decision as to what best suits your trust. Options include adding columns to the SOFA, which may be useful for smaller trusts but may crowd the information on the SOFA, replicating the prior year SOFA as a separate note, which may be useful for more complex trusts as it's easy to show all the information in one place. Or alternatively, you can show the information within the relevant notes. We've reviewed the financial statement outcomes for 2014 to 2015 and have seen similar issues to the prior year. In respect of qualified audit opinions, these are mainly around trustees' salary disclosures and pension or land and building valuations. It may be worth discussing with your auditor as to the best way to value land and buildings. You should also plan to commission valuations in good time. We've seen an increase in emphasis of matter paragraphs, specifically around going concern. You must ensure that the trust has a robust budget setting process, and to help, we've put some additional information on gov.uk on financial health and efficiency. To note, where the trust is looking to set a deficit position, we, the EFA, must be informed within 14 days of it being set. In terms of regularity, we've seen a number of significant internal control weaknesses. It is worth having a look at your schemes of delegations and financial regulations manuals to check the processes you have written down are well designed and properly implemented. We've been working with NASBM recently to provide more information in this area and their updated documents on their good practice library. We've also seen issues with leases, whereby sometimes the lease will be described as an operating lease, but the terms actually show it to be a finance lease. In this instance, retrospective approval would be required, impacting the regularity report. NASBM have published a fact sheet on the differences between operating and finance leases on their Good Practice Library, which you may find useful. Guidance on submitting your audited accounts is on the Accounts Direction webpage. Points to bear in mind include making sure the appropriate individuals have login details for uploading the accounts to EFA's document exchange, and making sure the accounts are in a clear and easy to read format. To accompany the accounts, you'll need to complete a cover sheet, which we discuss in the submission guidance. Last year we found that some trusts stated in their cover sheet that their accounts were qualified, when in fact they were unqualified. So if you are uncertain, do discuss it with your auditor. And so in summary, careful planning will be important to ensure the accounts and audit process runs smoothly. You will need to decide at an early stage who will prepare the accounts and draft the reports. You should also think about timing, both to ensure you have information available for your auditors and that there is an appropriate trustee meeting scheduled so that the accounts can be signed off on time. There are several key dates that you should be aware of. First, your accounting reference date. This is the date to which you prepare your accounts, and you should ensure it's recorded at Companies House as 31st of August. If it's incorrect, you should contact the company's registrar. Next, you should review the Accounts Direction to check whether you can defer your first accounts for a year or prepare dormant accounts. If you intend to do this, you must notify EFA of your intentions by 30th of September 2016. If you don't defer, your accounts and auditor's management letter must be submitted to EFA by 31st December 2016. Finally, your accounts must be published on your website no later than 31st of January 2017 and be retained on the website for 2 years. If you need to contact EFA about your accounts, you should use the online form accessible through our information exchange and also on the gov.uk website. The link is on the screen. And that brings us to the end of this presentation. I hope you found it somewhat useful, and I thank you for your time.